So social media is given a disproportionate amount.
All right, so welcome to another one of it. Welcome to what do you see as in some of the
Yeah, I would say the same thing. I would say the truth, man. Just because society paints.
All right, so welcome to another one of it. Welcome to the Youth Code with yours truly, Anthony D. I'm so glad to have you guys on the inside with me for yet another one. Today we are looking at the whole topic of masculinity and manhood, right? Our episode is entitled Man Up, and I'm having a conversation with a couple kings this evening as we are going to be talking about the whole idea of masculinity and being a man. What does that look like? There are so many perspectives on this topic. There are some people who have a lot of issues with it. What is a man? Who is a man? And all these different things are now up in the air for thought. It is up in the air for dialogue. And in some cases, there are people who continue to advocate for the fact that men are not being built the way that they should be built. And all of these different angles concerning the topic. But the conversation with the men that I'm going to be having with them this evening is more or less just to kind of help us get an idea as to what does it really look like from a man's perspective to be a man. So I want to invite them one time on the inside. We have Mr. Wade Karut, right, out of Tobago, and I have a good brother of mine as well, Mr. Quincy Guevara, on the inside. So guys, let me just ask you all just to give your name and just give a general idea as to who you are, a short introduction so the people will know who you guys are. We start with Wade.
Good evening, listening audience. My name is Wade Karut, as stated. I am an entrepreneur. I also am employed by the government. I'm involved in a bunch of different NGOs, one being Tobago Writers Guild, or another being Tobago Agricultural Society. And I'm a managing director for a small business called Tobago Love Seafood.
Oh, nice, man. Nice. Thank you so much, Wade. Quincy, talk to us.
Hi, my name is Quincy Guevara. I am 23 years of age. I am currently a member of the Defense Force for 2 years.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice. Cool.
I'm good.
All right, so guys, I want to paint that scenario. I want to get your views on it. So, who is going to be viewed more manly, right? I'm going to paint a scenario for you guys here, and I want from your personal take, who is more manly in this scenario, right? So we have a tradesman, right? He's working 6 days a week, right? On the afternoon, he's sweating either basketball or football. And on a weekend, his thing is just to lime and chill out. The other individual is an accountant, right? He working at a telecommunication company, and he working Monday to Friday, and he's a gym junkie. Which one of these guys will be seen as more manly? Let me get your views.
Will be seen as more manly.
Yeah, which will be seen as more manly. Yeah.
Well, you see, it's got two perspectives. You see, because the accountant is a gym junkie, he will be bulky and look big. So people go see him and say he more manly. Then they go watch the trade man, he outfit, he in the trade outfit, he walking with the hammer and the big boots. That in itself too paints an image of manly.
Right.
But so it could be either way, depends on how you look at it. If you think, the big body size strong up is manly, then they will say he. But if you say, well, you working the key and them dirty, tradesman, they will give the tradesman it.
So you think that matter of perspective.
That matter of perspective. But me personally, I will look at the tradesman as more man.
As more man. All right. What about you, Quincy?
I would say the same thing. I would say the tradesman, just because society paints that image as a man, as a hard-working individual.
Mm-hmm.
So, given his background, it will be easier to look at him and say, yeah, he had a hard days with he going out and getting it. Compared to somebody who sit down, an accountant, that kind of
typing on computer and laptop and then you need gym,
I think society would say option one would be the more manly man. It's not right, but
I agree.
Yeah. Tell me where let me direct this question first to Quincy. Quincy, tell me, where did you get your idea about manhood or masculinity from?
Um, well, I grew up in a two-parent household, so
Right.
the main role model in my life is my dad.
Yeah. Okay.
So he would be like well, he and my mom, but in terms of masculinity, I think I
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
all of my values and my morals from him. I will see how he treats complete total strangers, how he is able to make friends with people who he never saw in his life, never spoke to in
Okay.
his life, and have a
Okay.
connection with them.
Mm-hmm.
So he is the main reason why I think I am the man I am today because of
Okay.
him. So in
Okay.
terms
Okay.
of like how he treats his wife, how he treats his kids,
Mm-hmm.
his mentality when it comes to work, because he has a full time job and he does other jobs on the side. And
Right.
as his son, I accompany him a lot of times, and I see his
Right.
mentality when it comes to finishing and pleasing other people
Yeah.
with their jobs. So I think he's the main person where I got my definition of manhood from.
But wait, let me get your take. Where you would have gathered your idea about manhood and masculinity.
Well, to me, it's a collection of different people I would have known throughout my life. Maybe,
Okay.
people I know from the village. Well, I didn't really grow up with my father. You know how he carries himself. He prides himself on being very diplomatic
Right.
and how he, deals with people. And he could calm a situation down like that. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
he bailed me out plenty times in different ways. So
Okay.
I
Okay.
definitely learned a lot from my father in
Mm-hmm.
terms of how to carry yourself as a man in spite of emotions because, observing them when I was young, he and my mom had sometimes a kind of tricky relationship and
Yeah.
she would be coming at him yelling and he just cool and calm and, trying to keep the situation under wraps.
Right.
So I would have
Okay.
learned a lot from my dad in terms of diplomacy and controlling your emotions and handling your business and so on.
Okay.
Hardworking man as well. I would have
Yeah.
also learned a lot from like people in the village because I grew up right next to a church, so I spent a lot of time in the church. The
Okay.
pastor of the church and how he loving and he nurturing to all the children and everybody in the village and so
Right.
on.
I wanted to go back to this. I wanted to go on the second point in terms of the way that a man will deal with things because I find it very interesting that you would use that as one of the parameters that you would use to define um a man, right? Because I'm thinking about the fact of when you see a man uh reacting in a situation from the standpoint, like let's say two fellas linemen, all of a sudden there's an argument and then a big brawl and then all of a sudden there's this big tussle taking place in the road. Um, I'm thinking about situations where you have young men. I usually term young men thinking that having not going to waste and warring with other people, right? That these are aspects or elements of being a man and because you defining it from the standpoint of a man having diplomacy and being able to deal with situations. I mean that is big, really and truly. So I know what is
True.
your view? What is your view on in respect of that?
Yeah, actually, that's a very interesting point. Now that you mention it, when you observe the so-called men of this day and age, they're
Yeah,
hot-headed, they're
yeah,
quick to fight, quick to react. They ain't no level thinking. And well, me growing up, that I got no. It's only like a immature man gonna be fighting and what like what you have what's so important that you
mm-hmm.
decide you could put your life on the line to fight
Yeah,
for this. A man must your clap. So somebody, whine on your girl or whatever ship it is.
yeah,
To me,
yeah,
none of that is not worth your life because that's very immature because what about the people who depending on you? You going and risk going to jail or worse, dying
yeah,
for to battle some pride and ego. So to me, that is not manly. It's very immature and like a little boy,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
Hmm. So let's say a man is in a situation and he has a woman. It has some women that are very, very vocal and very outspoken. They don't mind sharing their perspective on nothing. Then
Nothing.
holding back, we they're holding back at all. They're like, you know what they
Yeah,
think, what they feel,
Ah,
whatever,
one
right?
time.
So let's say a man in a situation like that, right? Um, and we have read about circumstances of about men who would have reacted violently sometime in cases like that with women. Are you thinking, right? Or based on what you're saying, are you thinking therefore that a man who is not able to manage, right, the understanding that he has that he is a man, but he reacts in some sort of a violent, aggressive way to establish his manhood? Are you thinking or saying that his manhood could be questioned in that regard?
I wouldn't say it will be questioned. I would just say it's like a position of maturity, because
Okay, all right,
I
nice.
think I think with experience you will learn that violence, especially against women,
Yeah,
because in the Bible it says women are the weaker vessel, right?
right.
So in that way, I don't think that as a man you should be responding violently to a woman. Like, I hear it over and over and over. Woman, the power of a woman is in her tongue. She mouth,
Right.
she mouth is the biggest weapon. You as a
Mm-hmm.
man have to be able to have that maturity and
Yeah.
has that control to
Yeah.
take in everything that is going on around and just
Yeah.
try your very best to not react in a manner where you could get in trouble. You could be in jail, you could be arrested.
Wait, let me throw this question to you, because
Sure.
Quincy alluded to it earlier on, and you also touched on it. What do you see as, in terms of the role of father figures? I'm using fathers and father figures because I know there are sometimes men or males that step in to be those images to young men.
Very important, as I mentioned earlier about role models.
Yeah.
You see the father or the father figure, but even Quincy had mentioned it as well. How instrumental his father was in shaping his narrative of what a man is supposed to be. So the role of a father and a father figure is to be that example for the younger males. Because believe it or not, well, I mean, it's obvious. A child, as much as you could tell him this or tell him that, a child will do what his father does or
Yeah.
what he see father doing.
Yeah.
So the males or the father figures have a
Yeah.
very important responsibility to mold the next generation.
Right. Yeah.
So they need to be very critical, especially, I mean, some of them, they talk the good talk, but then they don't act it. And
Right.
the talk will go through one ears and come out the next. But the child watching to see what they do, how they
Right.
react. Like if you say like mommy quarreling, what daddy
Yeah.
do?
Mm-hmm.
How daddy move?
How you
And that
handle
is
it.
important. So
Yeah.
the males or the father figures have to mold the next generation.
Yeah, that's a big point that you brought up there, because I remembered share this quick story with you guys. I remember I was in secondary school. We had a football competition that we used to call interclass football. So different classes will clash and stuff, and then we have thing. And I remember playing this one particular game where we would tie the game. And it was an after school game, and we were tied 1-1, a small goal. And I remembered scoring the winning goal. So hey boy, feeling good. That's the thing gone. And I remembered asking myself on the way home, gosh boy, saying, I wish, but I wish my father was here, because I didn't grow up. I didn't have my father. I always tell people this. My father didn't live with us, but I don't consider him an absent father, because he was very, very present. He would provide all that he needs to provide for us and stuff. So I don't refer to him as an absent father, because he was very much present, especially with our education. He didn't play with that at all. He made sure that we were well educated.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
So do you think that let's say let me put you in a scenario where, let's say you are around guys who are not exposed to the same environment that you are exposed to. Do you think, because I'm hearing from what you're saying, that there is, because of that similarity, there is a commonness or commonality that you all share in terms of what manhood is or what masculinity is? If that is the case, could we speculate that the reverse could be possible, in the sense that you have your experience, but if there are guys who don't share that same experience that you do, do you perceive, or can you see that there is the possibility of either them influencing maybe your perspective on manhood or masculinity, or is it that you would just be exposed to a different perspective?
Um, I think I will be exposed to a different perspective because, like I said before, in my job I've been exposed to a lot of different personalities, and
Right.
me
Okay.
and a few of my work colleagues, we had a discussion recently, and we were talking about if growing up with two parents in a household makes you less of a man than growing up with only one parent. At first,
Wow.
I was like,
Okay.
oh,
Interesting.
I was like, how growing up with two parents makes you less of a man? And they paint an image in my head where they will be like, well, growing up without my dad, I would have to go out and get this from an early age. That's something totally different than what I used to.
Right.
Because I grew up with two parents, so I was shocked. I was like, that don't mean that makes you more of a man than somebody with two parents. That just means they had it a little bit rougher. But having it a little bit rougher growing up, I think it makes you into a more stern and more aggressive type person. So
Okay.
yeah.
But guys, tell me, do you all think as well that social media, based on all the other influences that we have, social media, do you all see social media as having any form of influence on manhood? Wade, what do you think? You can start with Wade and then Quincy, you could read him.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Social media, music. What I would say is that social media and the whole mainstream media is giving young men role models. It's handing out role models to young men. Unfortunately, the majority of the rich and famous ones that are being pushed are not positive role models.
Yeah.
So young men are looking up, but look, you have all this money, you have all of this, you have all of that. And they look into this person as a role model. But then when they check this person's life, they're probably doing the world of things. I don't want to go down the list, right? But they could be abusing their wife or the children, or some of them not even present in their children's lives. So social media is giving a disproportionate amount of bad role models to young men. And the few good role models in social media, they're not getting the platform like the others will get.
Yeah. The more the negative is being publicized and becoming more popular than the good.
Yes.
What do you think, Quincy?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that social media tends to paint a unrealistic portrait of what actually has been happening. So, for instance, like there are guys on social media that would highlight money, cars, houses, expensive things, and as a young man, you'll be like, damn, I wonder what he does to get this stuff. He has to be getting it. You will get hard and getting it, but in reality, that might not be the case. But they wouldn't come out and say, hey, I obtained this by selling drugs. I obtained this by doing this.
It's a sad thing because you know that social media carries so much of weight on the lives of a lot of young people, especially, and to know that the whole idea of projecting the negativity is the more prominent thing to do, right? I look at sometimes the music videos. You look at the physical depiction of the popular male images that is out there, and you ask yourself, so wait now, so if I just want to be simple, boy, like I just want to be a simple guy, I'm not a man, because at the end of the day, what is actually going to happen is that because I'm not flashy, I'm not wearing any brands, I'm not rocking a particular image, that I'm not really a man. So the question I want to ask is, do you all think as well that women have an impact in terms of the depiction of manhood or how a man sees himself? Do you all think that women have some sort of influence or impact in that as well?
Most definitely.
Yeah. In what way? In what way?
Right. I don't know. Just keep coming to my mind that like these guys who is teaching and rubbing and things, they have a woman. They going home to a woman that that, kissing them up, hugging them up, loving them, etc. Who there for them. Now, if
Yes.
that woman wasn't sticking around, them fellas mightn't rub anymore. They might, look for something else too, because women not going with that kind of man. But because
Right.
women are giving it, they're giving it what is the word? They're giving it a platform. I don't know. They're giving
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
you know
Recognition.
what I
They're giving
mean?
it. Yeah,
Yeah, they're
they're
giving it
responding to it.
exactly.
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
giving
yeah,
it
yeah.
that so that they feel that it's okay to continue in that way. And so
Right.
women have a big part to play because they are buying into the image of, oh, he blinging, he
Yeah,
driving, he have Prada or Gucci or whatever. She don't
yeah.
care how he getting it, but because he have
Mm-hmm.
it, she putting herself with it. So these
Right.
young fellas now, they looking to get those things just so that they could appeal to the many girl or the girls. When in
Yeah.
reality, it might not be that they have anything, but because they have the image of it, they're
Just had the
getting girl.
image. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's
So
it.
women are, it's like they're creating these monsters too, or at least they're
Hmm.
encouraging these monsters
Right.
because they're supporting the lifestyle, they're giving into it, they're buying into it.
That apart from the those relationships, like being wife or girlfriend or whatever, or fiance or whatever, that even a mother, right? And this is actually where
True.
I wanted to trade towards Quincy in terms of
Mm.
he made mention of having his mom and his mom involvement. And how do you, Quincy, how would you be able to relate your mother's influence or impact in terms of you being a man? Is there anything that you can say or see that because of your mom's involvement that you are also part of you are also the type of man that you are today?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Because my mom would have also instilled some values within me growing up, and
Yeah.
I think that looking at her, I would see someone that would hold me accountable for my
Okay.
actions.
Okay. Okay.
So, like for instance, we have a saying, I will never, if you cheat on someone, I will never side with you because that is not right. A
Right.
simple thing like that. I would
Good,
make jokes to my
good
girlfriend
point.
and be like,
Yeah.
girl, my mother would sell me out if I cheat on you.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like you will have somebody to hold you accountable for your actions and for the
Mm-hmm.
way you treat other people.
Okay.
And I think as though that is very, very important. Not just for a father figure, but especially for a
Mm.
mother, because your mother is the one woman that would love you unconditionally. She
Right.
have
Yeah.
no conditions to her love.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
as a man, as a son, as a young man,
Yeah.
would want to see that you actually pleasing your mother.
I have a friend of mine, and she has one of my little nephews, and I call him my little nephew. And one of the things I see with her is that she talks to him about what it is to be a man, to understand women. And she goes all out to make sure that he understands. She's talking to him about when women are experiencing their cycles and stuff, and how they could be, and getting him to understand that. And in my mind, I'm saying, I didn't have those type of conversations, right, with my dad, but it's stuff because I had sisters. I learned about it, but I just admire that as a mother, she's sharing this information with him because she wants him to understand that these are real things that you will have to face if you go into a relationship with a woman. So you find out that young man now, as he gets older and he goes into, or he has these phases in his life, he understands that there are certain things to expect, right? Certain things to understand, and therefore it helps him now to have a proper balance, right, in terms of how to treat with a woman. So mothers, we had to salute all the
Yeah,
mothers and them out there, really doing what it is they need to do when it comes to making sure that their sons and stuff stay in line, no misbehaving.
Sure.
In the general scheme of things, people say it's a man's world, right? People like to say it's a man's world. That within all kind of context, right? They like to say that man's
Right.
world. No mind Beyonce say the girls and them is who really running the role, and right now in Trinidad and Tobago, we have 3 women running Trinidad and Tobago right now. You gotta recognize that. You understand? You gotta give credits to Miss Vicessa. We have Ms. Beckles, right, for the opposition leader, and then we have Ms. Kangaloo as our president, right? So we have three women running Trinidad and Tobago right now, fellas, right?
Okay.
But they generally they like the concept of it's a man's role. Now the thing is this, right? We know that in many instances that there isn't a heavy presence of, and I don't want to get into demographics and all these different things, and ethnicity and who, whatever. Generally, the idea is that there is not enough men present in homes. You will see them. They find like in PTA meetings in schools and stuff. I hear people talk about it. You don't really see much of the fathers. Most of the time, it's the mothers and them around they involved. When it comes to homework taking place, the mother had to be there, right? Even when we look at the younger generation, sometimes even with boys, when it comes to education, you're not really seeing the young men and them really showing up in education. Sometimes to some extent in sports, to some extent, but you see it's come like you're almost seeing a gradual overshadowing, right, of male and men in so many different aspects of life. Now, that in itself is cause for concern from the standpoint where there has to be something that we need to do to make sure that men understand that there is a place for them, because I feel that sometimes men may feel displaced, right? Be it in education, be it in certain spheres of life, men tend to feel like there's not really a place. So there's like a kind of struggle to find a place. So you find now some of these toxic ideas that we were just talking about can become some of the ways that they establish themselves. The thing, well, there's me, there's how a man is, and they find these little ways to try and establish themselves and say, well, I'm a man, and this is who I am, because they're looking for a space to allow themselves to kind of like almost like exist, kind of thing, right? But my question to you guys is this: with all of these challenges that men face, right, with all of the issues that we are seeing with men, and man having so many, sometimes, as I say, so many different meanings and perspectives and stuff on it, where do you all think that we need to go in order for a man to understand a couple of things? Balance, which was some of these things that came up, responsibility, right? Understanding how to lead. How do we, from where we are, how do you guys think that we need to navigate ourselves to some of these places? I mean, let me get some of your take on moving from where we are to maybe where we need to be as men. Let me start with Quincy, and then I'll come to you, Wayne.
I think men need to have a lot more open conversations with other men, because we have the stigma where this is happening to me, but like I don't think anybody else could relate to me, And in reality, it has been happening to a lot of men, and they go through the same thing. So it's like, I think if more men would come together, maybe a couple of drinks, and just be able to express themselves to one another, and they will be able to not just have someone to listen to them and could probably offer advice if they've been through the same situations or not.
Yeah.
But they will also be able to try to get an understanding from others, so that they will have the idea that, hey, they're not alone in this. Maybe somebody else going through the same thing I've been going through.
Wade, what do you think, Wade?
Yeah, well, that's a great point. Men need to be able to have, settings and scenarios where they can communicate and share and open up and sometimes vent. But I think also what needs to happen is that we need to target the younger generation. We need to be able to, influence the younger generation to give them this perspective of what a man is, because unfortunately, a lot of the young people growing up in homes where the men are present. So if we could maybe create programs where we have like a mentorship thing where you adopt a younger one who, who don't have a father figure, they could now have like a mentor, like a big brother type thing, where you become the father figure, where we go into the high schools and the primary schools and getting these young men to understand what it means to be a man.
So I guess when it comes to the next generation or the younger generation, one of the things we definitely have to be honest with and realize is that they are the mercy of social media. We know that for sure. We know that for sure. That one of the things that we really have to look at will be to try and find ways and means by which we could, make it a safe place for them to become true men. And it also means that there are some things that we have to actually have in place for them, because as we said, we know for a fact that in many instances, many of them don't have their fathers resident with them, and the need for honest, real, good male figures is important for them. Guys, I want to say thanks so much for being on the inside, Quincy and Wayne. I really, really appreciate the conversation. Thank you all so much for the dimes that you all dropped off. I think
thank you very much for having us, man.
Somebody
said I think this is a great platform, and the discussion was very fruitful. I just hope as much men get to see it, and even young men, even women, get to see it.